Hello, guys. It's me, Butterfly Spirit 314. And, guys, today what I want to do is I want to talk about a book that I've been reading. And this book that I've been reading has actually been helping me to keep my anger in check and has actually been helping me to be happier. And it's not just the fact that I've been reading it, but I've really been um, really starting to implement some of the things in the book, which is helping me in a huge and a big way. So, I want to start off by showing you guys the book that I've been reading. So, this is the book I'm reading. It's called The Dance of Anger by Harriet Lerner, PhD. It's a woman's guide to changing the patterns of intimate relationships. So, I read this book. Um, First time I started reading this book, um, I think it was probably in, I believe it was 2021 when I first picked up the book. And I read a few pages of the book and then I stopped in chapter one. And then um, I put the book down. And then last year in 2023, I picked up the book again, and I started reading the book, and I read to page 99 of the book, and then I put the book down and I stopped reading it. This year, recently, I picked up the book again. I picked it up, I believe, started reading it in, I believe it was May of this year. I just picked up the book. Um, and I started reading it again. So I started reading it from page one, okay? And I'm happy to say currently that I'm in chapter seven, chapter seven of the book. And I'm currently on page 144. So I have beat my record um, of that I surpassed with the second time of me reading the book. Because my second time reading, I got to page 99. And now I'm on page 144. And what I have to say is every time I've read this book, I've always started from page one. So I've always started over. So the first time I read the book, like I said, started off page one, got to probably page five and stopped. Then my second time, I started the book at page one again. And then I read to page 99. And then starting in May of this year, I started off at page one and then I read, I've gotten to page 144 and I'm in chapter 7. And I've read through a lot of information. And the thing about reading this book is that there was a lot of aha moments in this book that I read through, and I'm currently taking notes on the book. So, like, some days, like, I will read, some days I'll take notes and stuff. And, I've started applying things. So, one thing I had to do was really get real about the fact that my anger was a problem, okay? And I think that's the challenge, that I was kind of struck with because in the past I pretended like my anger wasn't the problem. I pretended like I needed to, I would just blame other people. I would say other people needed to change in circumstances and situations. And, as I've been reading this book, I've kind of come to understand that, there are things that I've been doing, that has been causing me to be a part of the problem rather than being a part of the solution. So, I want to share with you guys a few sentences from the book that I want to share. If you guys want to read this book, I'd recommend that you read it. Ladies, I definitely recommend it for you because it's really going to help you with getting in touch with your anger. Because The thing is that people don't realize when it comes to anger that anger is a lot. Anger has a lot of facets to it, okay? Um, in another book I read, they said that anger is a secondary emotion. So it's not your primary emotion. It takes a while before you get to anger, okay? And there's ways people get to anger too. You know, one way I would get to anger is I would stack my anger. That's something I would do is I would stack it. So I would basically, in situations where I should have like went to address things in situations, I would just say, repress my anger and just say, oh, it's okay, I'm fine. And what I would do is it's like putting my anger, and stacking it. It's like that game, you guys have probably seen. I think it's called Bejeweled or something like that, where basically, like you have to match the like jewels, and if you don't match them, then they'll like stack and stack and stack, and if it gets like to the top, then just end the game, kind of like that. There's other games like that too. I think it's called Bejeweled, but anyway, I would stack my anger, and that really is something that's not healthy, and it really isn't. And getting real about my anger is really something that I really had to, understand that was an issue. And in the past, like I said, I denied that I had any problems with anger. I really did. Um, and I'm going to talk about that in the sentences that I want to highlight in the book. And, of course, I want to give credit to the author who wrote this book because I really feel like she does a really great job of talking about anger. And anger is a lot deeper than a lot of us really get into. And so I just want to be honest about it. And like I said earlier, I've been happier since I've been really being honest with myself about anger. I had a circumstance today at work where somebody, like someone put me in a situation where they were angry at me. And my response to them being angry at me, really, what I did in the past, I would kind of, get angry at them or whatever. But what I did today, it really shows that I've been working my anger because what I did is that instead of me letting that other person's anger drive me or whatever, what I did is that I basically just moved forward. And that person that I was working with at work, that I don't normally work with this person, but the person who was angry at me, I was just like, well, you know what? If they're angry, that's their anger. That's something they have to address. Okay. And I kind of just let it go. And that's something about anger is that a lot of times we may take in somebody else's anger and we think that we're to blame or we're to punish for it, but we're not. People are in control of their own emotions, and it's important to let people know that. That you don't have to let them know that, but you have to understand that you're not responsible for how somebody else, like how they manage their emotions. Okay. And that's something that I'm learning. And like I'm going to tell you guys, I'm not perfect. I still have the ability of getting annoyed and frustrated and angry and nervous and embarrassed. I do. And the thing is, I think the hardest thing is kind of sitting in your emotions. And that's what I learned from another book is learning how to like weather the storm of your emotions, like how to sit in that emotion, how to feel it. And I was like, how does somebody sit in their emotions? But like today I actually was sitting in my emotions. I'm being present in my emotions. And I've done that before where like I'll like sit in my anger and it's so uncomfortable to do that. But one thing I found that me being present with my anger and like sitting in it helps me to get more of a control over it. Because in the past, what I would do is just let my anger just like flood over me like a wave and just like let it control me, you know. And, do I have the likelihood of letting my anger carry me away? Um, Possibly. But I think the fact that I'm working on my anger, like, every single day taking steps to, you know, deal with my emotions and my needs and wants and stuff, that really helps me to, to be less likely to be angry. If I'm sitting in traffic, am I going to be angry? Probably. If somebody cuts me off, am I going to be angry? Probably so. I don't think there's going to be a person driving down the road that's not going to get upset if somebody cuts them off. Okay. I don't think anybody is. So, real life here, people, real life. So, anyway, I want to talk about three sentences in this book that I feel kind of resonate with me. Okay. So, first off, from my Dance of Anger book, I want to highlight there's a sentence on page one, chapter one, page one. So, the first sentence it says, anger is a signal and one worth listening to. So I want to highlight these are not my words, these are the author's words here. And you guys can definitely, get this book. It's a really great read, but these are the author's words. Anger is a signal and one worth listening to. I can tell you guys, I would ignore my anger signaling to me that situations were getting under my skin and bothering me. I really would. I would just get so caught up in the emotion of being angry, and I would just, like I said, let it go over me like a wave to the point that my anger was controlling me. You know, and I think this not only happens to me, but it happens to other people, too. And how anger affects people is different. But for me, it just felt like my anger was controlling me. To the point like I would, like say things when I'm mad, curse, um, and not be able to pay attention or listen to people and stuff like that. And, one of the things I didn't realize is that, like I said earlier, I was stacking my anger. Another thing I didn't realize is that, in situations where I should have been honest about my emotions and with dealing with situations and stuff, like I said, I would put them on a shelf. And I wouldn't think about how I was feeling or why I was feeling the way I was feeling. I would just say, oh, no, I'm fine, and that wasn't the case. And when I would stack my anger, it would lead to me eventually blowing up. At one point, blowing up and just like going off, you know, raising my voice, yelling, um, and just like really demonstrating myself to not be reasonable, when it comes to my anger. I think I'm more mindful of my anger because I have been like doing mindfulness scans and stuff like that. That's something I've learned to do. I haven't done one recently, but I have learned how to become present with my emotions, with my thoughts, with how my body is feeling under stress and different things like that. And this has been a work in progress. This hasn't been something that I've just like recently came to. It's been something I've really been working on. Okay. Um, for me, I also, wasn't, like I said, I wasn't listening to my anger at the fact that something in a situation was wrong. And I wouldn't listen to that. And I think it was because I was more concerned with trying to please another person. Um, I was, felt like, I don't want to rock the boat. I don't want to be looked at as difficult or disagreeable. I don't want to be looked at like I'm a bitch or I'm, this bad person. But the thing is that, you know, anger is a signal that something is wrong. And it is something worth listening to because if you can get to the point where you can listen to your anger, this isn't just anger, but if you get to the point where you can be in tune to what your needs and your wants are and get present with your feelings, that makes things easier, you know. And for me, that's something that's been happening with me, you know, and that's something that's allowed me to be happier, especially like today. There was a situation when I was at work, and I wanted to go grab some free breakfast that they were offering at work, and I was kind of had a dilemma because I wanted to go down there and get the free breakfast, but yet one of my coworkers was off, leaving another coworker, and another coworker was coming in. And at my job, I was told that I can't leave the coworker by themselves or whatever and stuff. So I'm just like, because I have a busy job and calls come in or whatever. And what I had to do was I had to get real about what my wants were. My want was to go get the free breakfast. And I also wanted to balance that with work. So what I did was is that I did two things. I was able to take on some work, get it done, and then when I felt ready, I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and go get this free breakfast that I want. Went down to get the free breakfast, determined that I didn't really want it, and I passed on it. But at least I listened to myself because I felt that anxiety that I was experiencing, and I realized that um, if I didn't listen to what I wanted, I would get angry. And it was like this realization. And it's taken me a while, like, to get to this. It's taken me a while. And there's a lot of people who may never get to this. Some people can. It just takes work. Um, did I get to this through therapy? No. I got to this through, you know, I got to through this through reading and YouTube videos and different exercises and, to get here, you know. I mean, I started this journey starting in, I believe it was September of 2022. And here I am. I've gotten here. And I gotta say, I've been making some pretty good progress lately. And I'm proud of myself for that, you know. And I'm only gonna keep going further because I'm working on my anger and I'm not stopping. I'm not stopping because I'm becoming more aware of myself and who I am and how I react. I'm beginning to know myself and what I want and what I don't want. You know what I mean? And there's people who don't get to that because doing this is hard. It's not easy. But what's driving me is, I guess, to see if I can do it. I guess to see, can I achieve the goal, of getting to the end of this book? Can I get to the goal of being able to communicate effectively with people where people understand me? Can I get to the point where I can communicate with people even if I'm angry, I can communicate with them in a calm way? Um, can I get to the point where, like, I'm aware of my needs and wants, rather than pushing them off and not being aware of them and not recognizing that I have needs and wants? And like I said, this is big. This is really big. Okay, I want to talk about another sentence here. It's on page 31 of the Dance of Anger book. This is in chapter 2, I believe. Let's see. I'm actually flipping through the book. So there's two, no, there's one sentence. The sentence reads from the Dance of Anger. Let's see, it's the seventh sentence. It says, if we are chronically angry or bitter in a particular relationship, that may be a message to clarify and strengthen the I a bit more. So I went through this circumstance of being angry on multiple occasions, and I would blow up in arguments. And I did this with my then fiance because I didn't know what else to do. Um, I was used to kind of letting things like, I was used to kind of saying I was fine when I wasn't. I was kind of getting by with not being honest with myself. I would say I was indecisive. Like I said, I would stack my anger, um, not be clear about what my needs and wants were. Um, and that's my responsibility too, But of course, I would blame, I would play the blame game, um, and say, he needed to change and I didn't need to. I was perfect. Everything's right that I say, and none of the things he said was right. And I would, play the I'm right game, and and blame other people. And honestly, I was contributing more so to the problem. And I think what this sentence really means to me is that because I was angry on multiple occasions, um, what that highlights is that, like, by me, like becoming angry, a lot of it was because I wasn't really taking care of the I, the me, the things that were specific to me. I wasn't handling my own problems, my own issues. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't handling, like, I wasn't aware of my needs. I wasn't aware that I could, take care of my own needs and wants. Like one thing, like, um, I wasn't like, I wasn't aware of how much it was upsetting me that I wasn't getting my hair done. Like, as you guys know now, if you've been following my channel, you guys have been seeing, like, my hair's been growing. I've been taking care of my hair. But, for a long time, I wasn't taking care of my hair. And that was a need that I was going without, with me not getting my hair done. And that was something that was making me angry. And, in arguments, I would bring it up. Oh, I'm not able to get my hair done or my nails done or whatever. And that was a me problem. And the thing is that what I would do is I would be angry because I wasn't clarifying and strengthening my own needs and speaking to those needs and realizing that it's on me to take care of those things. It's not on, my fiance, to do that for me. It's on me, to do that. And I can agree. I didn't listen to him when he was like, well, babe, we can save, and it's okay to get your hair done and stuff. But I wasn't listening to that. I would just kind of, not be in touch with the fact that, I wasn't willing to listen to what he was saying. Now doesn't mean that everything he said was right. No. But the thing was that I wasn't honest with myself about, handling my own needs, like going to get my hair done. I would also do things like, I was so much into like paying, making sure things were paid and finances and stuff and everything, which comes with, when you live with somebody, that, I was so much into paying for stuff and us paying for things and us not spending money on anything other than the expenses that we had, that I put off doing things like getting into hobbies. Like now, guys, what I do now, I've gotten into the hobby of ballet, pole dancing, knitting, sewing, um, crochet, um, twerking, um, quilting. Um, I've been getting into all of these different hobbies, these different things that are allowing me to express myself, which is strengthening my I. And I've been doing that more and more. Now there's some times where I gotta sacrifice doing things that are hobbies, but the great thing about some of the hobbies I have, like ballet, for example, I can actually do free lessons on YouTube. Like I can actually follow along with the lessons, and that's free. I can also do my sewing, for free pretty much because I get free fabric for my sewing. Um, when I gotta cut back on stuff, and some of my hobbies, and yeah, pole dancing, I can do a little bit of that for free. But I like going to the classes and stuff. I think that's more fun. Um, and like just things like that, like me, like I didn't know in the past that it was okay for me to explore these hobbies. I didn't know that, and now I do know that, and I've been strengthening my eye, and I think that's been pretty cool, and that's been helping me to be happier, and things like that. And um, I think that's something that's been helping me to be less angry because I notice, like, when I happen to have downtime and I get involved in these hobbies, it's really great because it helps me to see myself as more than just being somebody who goes to work and punches a clock, and comes home and, and then they get up the next day and do it all over again with work, like getting into my hobbies is really helping me to learn and grow as a person, and it's helping me to be less angry, and it's helping me to be, clarifying myself, who is butterfly spirit, it's helping me define who I am. And I think that's been helping me, the mindfulness has been helping me, like I talked about earlier, too. I'm going to talk about two more sentences and I'm going to be finished with this video here because I'm hungry and I haven't had my dinner yet. So I'm going to go to page 43 in the Dance of Anger here. Um, so, okay, here's two sentences I want to read here from the Dance of Anger. And these are not my words, these are the author's words. So, two sentences. It says, instead, the problem is that getting angry is getting nowhere or even making things worse. If what we are doing with our anger is not achieving the desired result, it will seem logical to try something different. So, I'm going to read the first sentence. Instead, the problem is getting angry is getting nowhere or even making things worse. When I would get into arguments with my fiance that I had at the time, one of the things that I noticed was that me getting angry and blaming him and telling him to change, it wasn't changing nothing. It wasn't doing anything. Um, it really wasn't. And what it was doing is really hurting our relationship rather than strengthening it. And I now know and understand that better now than I did. Um, but getting angry and letting my anger just like wash over me and like control me, it was hurting, and it was definitely causing hurt and stuff. And I can acknowledge that, and I can own that and be accountable. In the past, I wouldn't be accountable. Now I've become more accountable for things and realizing that, my actions are my responsibility and they're not anybody else's responsibility. My anger is my responsibility, and I happily say I've grown to the point where I'm actually taking ownership of that. Um, okay, let's see. Um, let's see. What else here? Second sentence. If what we are doing with our anger is not achieving the desired result, it would seem logical to try something different. Yes, try something different. So, in the arguments that I would have with my fiance at the time, um, I wasn't trying anything different. I was just doing the same thing over and over again. I was blaming him or blaming other people, telling him he needed to change, and it wasn't doing anything. Wasn't doing nothing. Wasn't doing anything at all. Um, I'm happy to say now though that you know, doing something different with my anger has actually um is actually helping me to change things. And the only person I can change is me. I'm the only person that can change. And if another person wants to change, they'll change if they want to. It's hard to change when you don't want to. And at the time, I didn't want to. I didn't want to see myself as the problem. I wanted to see myself as perfect. I wanted to see myself as right. And, I can definitely see like where I was wrong. And every day I'm getting more comfortable with that understanding of like, hey, I really like dropped the ball there. And some stuff like there was an argument I had with my fiance in the past, and there was one argument that we had, and I can't believe I was angry and I was upset and I was mad, but I found myself laughing at myself. And you would think I was crazy, right? That, I was laughing at myself recently, but I was laughing at myself because I was listening to a recording of that argument, and I was laughing at myself because I was like, why the hell did I get so mad at that? Like, what's being said to me makes total sense. Why the hell am I not listening? um, and I guess it's because, the argument was, a few years ago. So, yeah, like, well, several years ago, but I just found myself laughing, at myself. And I think that's a sign of growth. And what I have to say is that I'm proud of myself for having the bravery to face my anger. Okay, and this started last year, um, and you know, I'm glad that I'm facing my anger. And with this book, I'm gonna finish this book. I'm gonna finish it, and I'm gonna continue to take notes on this book. And I've been applying um, a lot of the things I've been learning. It's not enough to read a book. It's not enough to just take the notes. It's about applying the information. And this isn't the only book I've read either, or in the process of reading. But I follow my gut feeling at certain times when I'm like, hey, it's time to pick this other book back up and keep reading. So, and the crazy thing is all these books, they all have a connection that I've been reading, and they all are helping me to be this more effective person at communicating. And I've changed. I've changed. I feel that I've changed. And I can see in my interactions I've changed, and the interactions with how I deal with people now is different, you know. And like today, when someone was angry and they wanted me to do something their way, and I handle things in my own way, with the customer because I felt that that was appropriate, but they wanted me to do it their way. And because I recognized that person was angry, what I did was is I stepped back, and what I did is I said, okay, I can tell, I get the feeling that this person is angry. And maybe they're not angry with me, but maybe they are angry at something else, but they're directing it towards me. I'm not going to accept their anger. I'm going to let them handle their own anger. Okay, I'm gonna let them handle their anger because that's something they have to do. And I ended up servicing the client in a way that was professional. It was definitely professional, and it was in a way that I felt was appropriate, and I just moved on to something else. I did take a walk. I did think about the interaction that happened, but I don't work with this person very often anyway. But I'm proud of myself for really being mindful and understanding of of the circumstance, and I tend to be an empath, so I can like take in other people's emotions, but I'm learning how to kind of push other people's emotions off, letting them handle their own emotions. Realizing that I don't have to jump in and make everything better because that's something else I do. I will try to fix stuff. And I've become aware that me trying to fix stuff is that's not what I should be doing, and that's something that's contributing to my anger. It's something I've recently learned about in this book, and I'm learning how to kind of step back and let people handle stuff on their own. I don't have to mother them. I don't have to fix stuff. You know, I can let people be accountable for themselves. They're making their choice. I gotta let them do it. I ain't gotta fix it. I've done this for years where I'll try to fix stuff. Even with my fiance in the past, I would try to fix stuff. And I realize now that I don't have to go to fix stuff. What I can do is, let people feel the way they're going to feel and be honest, express my emotions, And I think something I didn't do is I didn't know about speaking with emotions. I just knew how to blame and argue, tell people they need to change. But we learn about how to be angry from how we grow up, and I've taken in behaviors from, family members that have come before me. And I'm becoming more aware of that the things that I'm doing and how I'm handling situations is similar how women in my family handle situations going back generations. And you know I think in my family women have been likely to try to fix things, make them look good to please people. And I'm starting to understand now, thanks to this book, not just this book but other books that I have too, that you know like recently with this book, um, I don't oh I don't have to go and fix things, and there's a way to handle things, you know. But as you guys can see, this video is like 38 minutes, so I'm really really hitting at some real stuff here about anger, not just rambling on. So um, I just wanted to take the time to share with you guys like how I've been happier, and I've been happier because every day I have been intentional about being aware of my needs and wants, um, keeping my emotions in check. And I learned, how to be mindful and stuff. It's a process. It took a while for me to get here, to get to this. Like I said, I started this process starting in September of 2022. Um, and, you know, I've been progressing from there because I'm trying to become a better communicator, become more effective with how I speak with people. And, you know, I think I'm off to a really great start, and I'm going to keep going, and I'm not stopping. I'm not stopping because I want to see what more this book and my other books have to offer with helping me to be a more understanding person, you know. And I can feel the changes within myself, and I also find that I'm more likely to, there's people who I'm able to be strike up conversations with, people who I don't know. I'm able to be more appreciative and happy and different things, but it's taken effort for me to get there. And no, I haven't gone to a therapist to get here. This has all been self effort, day in, day out. Sometimes I'd hit a brick wall because my emotions, it would make me feel uncomfortable to really talk about how I felt, and be honest with myself about what was I really feeling at a certain moment, you know, what emotion in particular, what did I do, what did somebody else do, you know, could I have handled things differently, you know. So I just wanted to share with you guys, how I've been making progress with my anger and how I've been happier because of it. I've been a lot happier. There are times I still get stressed and I still get angry. But one thing I've been doing is I've really been, using my anxiety to my advantage to get things done. When I feel anxious and there's a problem, I use that anxiety to help myself to get to the point where I can actually do something to make things better, in my life rather than cowering in fear, and just letting stuff just continue. You know what I'm saying? So I have a ways to go. I'm always going to be learning, but I gotta say I'm proud of myself. And I should, pat myself on the back because I've come a long way and I'm gonna go further. But for any of you guys who get to the point where I am, you should pat yourself on the back and don't stop. Keep going. But yeah, for those of you who want to check out this book, it's called The Dance of Anger by Harriet Lerner, PhD. So far, I'm in chapter 7. I'm on page 144. I'll probably do a little bit of reading of this book tomorrow when I have some downtime. But thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate you, and thanks for watching.